You agree.
Got it.
Okay. All right. All
And
right.
I may have to pop off for a minute too, but I'll be right back if I do.
Perfectly fine. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and start recording. I'm going to hide my face. Can I? Yes, I'm going to hide my face. I'm going to spotlight my hands, and we're going to get this party started. All right. Can you guys all see my hands?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. And I realized that video looks a little, I don't know what, but that's the best we're going to get for today. So sorry about that, girls. It feels like it's not as clear today. So, all right, girls, today we are working with the Friendly Hello Suite and bundle. And so this Friendly Hello is free during celebration, Stampin' Up! Celebration. So you can get this stamp set free and you can get this whole pack of papers. So these stamps plus this whole pack, you can get free with a minimum $100 purchase. And so I've made up a kit using all these ingredients. And just to tell you about this kit, you can get this kit one of two ways. You can get this kit if you're on my team. I give it to you guys at a I offer it to you guys at a very, very affordable price. And if you're not on my team and you're a customer, you can get this kit for absolutely free with minimum purchase. You can get either the 5 cards free or the 10, and I'll be sharing a little bit more about that. But why don't I show you what this kit is all about? First, I'm going to show you the paper. So I showed you briefly the stamps. We're going to get super acquainted with those. But let me show you. These are going to be in 12 by 12 sizes if you get the bundle. Oh, I think I hear Little Puppy. Can we maybe mute Little Puppy, please?
Yep, I will.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I know. Little Puppy wants to say hello. This is, so if you get the kit, you're going to get exactly the sizes of the paper that you need. If you get the bundle, you're going to get 12 by 12 sheets of every single one of these, 2 of each. Look at these. This one probably shows the colors the best. Like, look at these: fresh freesia, pale papaya, Carol's granny apple green, pool party. And I think that that's evening evergreen there. So just look at these luscious, luscious, luscious colors. So that's the paper we're going to be working with today. We'll kind of get to see the stamps as we go through it one by one of each card. And what are the cards? So on this card, I'm going to show you a little bit about working. I don't know if you can see. I'm going to show you a little bit about working with Wink-of-Stella. I don't know if you can see that. Maybe you can see a little bit of glitter there. Wink-of-Stella is just a beautiful way to get glitter without adding a lot of glitter and without having like everything rub off, but you can get a little bit of shine. So on this card, I'm going to show you a little bit about some tips on working with Wink-of-Stella. And then this is another card that we're going to make today, and it's got Wink-of-Stella on it. And I'm going to show you, what else am I going to, I'm going to show you how to carefully place these 4 papers. How can you line those up so that they kind of rest nicely there, right? So that's card number 2. And again, this is all using that free stamp set. So that's card number 2. And look at this as I'm going through. Let's not ignore decorated envelopes, right? So just some little extra fun. We're going to take a look at this card. I'm going to show you a few things on this card. I'm going to show you working with blends. So you can see that I've got a few different color blends there. I'm going to show you how to tie a bow. And I'm going to talk about which ink did I use right there. What are the inks that work when we color with blends? And what are the inks that don't work, and I'll kind of show you that. So what else here? I'll just show you some blends coloring tips. How did we get like that nice shading on that sweet little guy? And then just kind of what this sketch.
Love
right?
it.
Oh, is it so sweet?
Oh, yes.
Thank you. Thank you. And you know what? Lynn will tell you, I got this kit. And I mean, I got this bundle and I'm like, oh, Lynn, don't expect much. I'm probably not going to play with it that much. Well, when I tore it open, I could not stop playing with it. So funny when you look at something and then when you start playing with it. But I'm just smitten with it. So on this, I'll show you a little bit about a kind of a sketch technique that we use here, and then how to get like a little torn effect, straight stamping, and that you can even use a little bit different ink right there, right? So again, you can get this kit as part of my team 6 cards. So all the ingredients, all the ribbons, all the gems, all the card bases, all the envelopes, get that for $6 plus shipping because that's just part of my team. Or you can get this kit free, absolutely free with minimum purchase. And I've kind of got a little different, 3 different options. Minimum 35, you get the kit free. Just all these ingredients. Minimum 50, you get the kit free and a pack of gems. And this is all, of course, before tax and shipping. But celebration time, Stampin' Up! With minimum 50 is also going to give you some stuff you can pick from. And then minimum 100, you get 2 sets of these cards, so 10. You get these gems. That's all from me. Stampin' Up! Will give you this friendly hello stamp set and full pack of designer series paper, plus the $100 that you purchase, right? And so I'm going to show you some things that you could use with the kit today, some blends and some inks and some tools that you may or may not have, or maybe you want the rainbows, I don't know, but that's kind of the overview of the class today. So why don't we go ahead and get started? And because I'm going to try to keep it to an hour, I may not show you some of the basics. So I will tell you that I've got a PDF written up. And so if you're on my team, you get the PDF for free. And if you get the kit, you get the PDF for free. I will be posting some of these measurements on my blog and talking through them as I go through them. But in the interest of time, I may or may not be able to get to every single little step, but I'll definitely highlight the things I talked about. So this very first card is the Hello Friend card. And you guys, I'll just tell you that's 4 by 5.25. That goes on the inside. 4 by 5.25 basic white. That goes on the outside. Then we're going to take this designer series paper in 3 3/4 by 5. And we're going to take a basic black band. That's 5 inches. And I think that might be 1.5. Let's look. 1 1/4. So this black band is 1 1/4 by 5. I use liquid glue to kind of adhere all these bases together. And so you're not going to see me doing that gluing right now. But let's get to the decorating of the sentiment. Let's get to the stamping of the sentiment right here. So the very first thing that I'm going to use when I'm working with photopolymer stamps, and photopolymer stamps are these clear stamps, right? So we have like cling mount, which are kind of red rubber, and we have photopolymer. The very first thing I'm going to do when I work with photopolymer stamps is I'm going to use a Stampin' Pierce mat, because this doesn't really have like that rubber with that mounting behind. And so I'm going to start by, and I like to protect my mat, so I'm going to start by very simply stamping these flowers from the Friendly Hello stamp set. I'm going to stamp them just really quietly. And I hope I clean this. I was playing with this, let me practice it first. I was playing with it with Stazon ink. You can see, Lynn, we were talking about Stazon ink the other day. You can see that my ink is kind of stamped. It's stained black now, right? I didn't clean it. I used Stazon ink and I didn't clean it. But you can tell from my stamping that the color is okay. So if you're going to use Stazon ink, and I'll talk about that ink in a little bit, it might stain your stamps, but you can tell that you're still going to be okay in terms of getting your image. So I'm going to ink up. This is fresh freesia. These are this is one of the in colors that's here for this year and next year. And oh my goodness, I love it. I'm just going to do this like I'm not going to stamp off. I'm perfectly fine doing a full rendering. I could have stamped off for a lighter image, but I'm just going to do that full rendering right there. I'm going to do my little house cleaning over here because I'm going to use these stamps more as I go through. And then I'm going to use Memento black ink. I'm gonna use Memento black ink to do this hello friend stamp. And you can tell I've got all my stamps kind of mounted on blocks. For me, I really like to do that over time. You know, if I just need to maybe spend an extra $10 to get to the next bonus level or whatever, I might just pop on an extra stamping block on there just to get, so that I can have a few different ones out while I'm stamping and not be putting them back and forth. And for sure, the different sizes that match the different stamps that we need. So I'm going to talk about straight stamping. This is so bold, this image, and this is so clear right here that the very first way to get clear is to use a nicely freshly inked ink pad and have a place where you can see a visual. And then I try to line up my stamp pretty straight. I can tell it's a little bit on an angle, so I'm going to stamp it a little bit on an angle. But I'm just going to visually eyeball it. Now, I am not in a position where it's exactly, magic of television. I've got it a little farther away from me than I normally would. But look, I got a nice, crisp, black hello friend, nicely inked Memento ink pad with just that purple just very nicely behind. So ooh and ah for that guy, you guys. That's kind of straight stamping with a nice big bold stamp, right? So that's straight stamping right there. This particular one also has a Wink-of-Stella on it. And so Wink-of-Stella is this tube right here. We have clear Wink-of-Stella. And here's a tip. And it's so obvious. And I didn't know it. I'm not kidding. I've been stamping for a gazillion years. And I didn't used to use Wink-of-Stella. Why? Because every time I squeezed it, I got like this, look, I got this. Every time I squeezed it, I got that kind of effect. So guess what the answer is? Don't squeeze it. Who knew? It's true. So I might need to squeeze it to get it, going a little bit, but now leave it the heck alone and just do the tiniest soft touch. And I don't need to smear it. I don't need to anything. I'm just going to do tiny, tiny light brush strokes as I go through. And I'm just going to give light little touches right there on my sentiment panel. And you guys, that's it. That's my hello friend. And I mean, I love that Stampin' Up! Does the work for us. So these flowers and colors match these flowers and colors for when I want to go to adhere it. So pretending that I've glued everything right, then I'm going to put Stampin' Dimensionals here, and I'm going to pop that on. Let me show you how I tie a bow out of just the twine, right? I'll show you how I tie and adhere a bow. And then we put some little gems on. So while I'm getting that ready, are there any questions or any comments or any thoughts about that? That's going to be card number 1. I always try to take my kits maybe from simpler to a little more difficult. So that's the simplest one we're starting with. So I'll just take a look over here under chat if there's any questions or anything.
I never knew that about Wink-of-Stella. I always squeeze it and get a puddle full of it.
Linda, 30 years, I'm not kidding, and I just figured it out. So.
I had no idea. I had no idea.
I don't know. Sometimes less is more, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, then that was worth the price of admission today, wasn't it, Linda?
Yes.
All right. All right. So now what is this thing? We don't sell this, but this is a ribbon maker. If you want to know how to get it, my upline sells it. I love my upline and I love to support her. So this is, and you could do it with a fork. There's other tools on the market too, but basically I'm just going to show you how you do this. And I'm going to do it pretty quickly, but I'll do it a couple times. I mean, I'll do it a couple times throughout today so you can see it, but you put it across and then you go under and then you go around and then you come over and then you just tie it in a little bow. So I know that's kind of brown on brown. I will tell you, when you get the one from Lee Connery, which is the one I recommend, that she gives, I'm not kidding, great instructions. She has step-by-step visual instructions and they're just So I just keep this. I don't know if you can see me. No, because I don't have that screen on. I keep this within one hand movement away. That's how often I use it. And then I put it on my sentiment panel. I like to use mini glue dots because I am smitten with paper pumpkin. You know what? I used to think, oh, it's not hard enough. Now I just think it's fun and delightful and it's easy and it's just a whimsical couple hours. I made Bob a card last night. No, Monday night, I guess. I gave it to him today. And it was just so sweet. It was really sweet. So, and then in Paper Pumpkin, you get these extra mini glue dots. So I've started to really use them. We get a lot of them. So I've started to use them. So I just use my Take Your Pick tool and I put a couple off in the corner. And then I take my Take Your Pick tool and I just kind of pop off those two little guys. I try to like straighten my bow before I put it down. And the reason I use two is because not only does it hold it securely, but I'm also kind of holding the bow in a position too. So I'm going to put that right there and position my bow, my bunny ears, just that little bit. And there we go. There's our sentiment. So are you guys okay that I don't do the easier parts of gluing and that I move on to the next? Is that okay with you guys? I see thumbs up. All right. I see lots of thumbs up. All right. Good. All right. So that's card number one. Super sweet. And guess what? I can feel on the back. Guess what I did? The first time I made it, I used a larger base. What do you guys think? Larger or smaller? What do you think? Smaller. I'm
A
thinking
smaller.
Smaller.
smaller. Yeah.
Smaller.
So I made it bigger and then I'm like, oh, that is just no. So then, since this was a sample card, you guys never know the magic of television, what is actually happening behind the cards that I have, but I just popped it over so as not to waste and I put it on that side. So, all right, that's card number one, super fun. And again, team, some of you guys have already ordered it. That's fantastic. Customers, you guys can get it. I mean, Celebration is the best time to get stuff. I am not kidding. All right, now we're going to work on card number two. It's another Hello Friend card. I want to tell you, I'm using these sentiments a lot. So you could do Hello Friend. You could very just as easily do the hope you have the best birthday, love and support. Like the sentiments are perfect for so many different, for male, female, all different occasions, etc. I happen to do the first two Hello Friend, but really you could very easily swap out a different sentiment there. And honestly, if you get these kits and you don't have this stamp set yet, or you choose not to get it with your Celebration or whatever, you could certainly, I do try to make my kits so that you could absolutely substitute with different supplies. So what are the things I want to share here? Okay, I'm going to share a couple things. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to share, this is your basic, so I always do my bases in thick, basic white thick. I do not do thin, I do basic white thick. It's more affordable to use the thin, but I just think this is a nicer feel and it just, you know, it's that feel that we've come to love, that Stampin' Up! Quality. So I use the basic white regular for maybe my tags and my die cuts, basic white thick always for my, and I promise you when I send you kits, I send you the basic white thick. So I've taken this is another pattern in the designer series. Carol, there's your Granny Apple Green. I've taken another pattern in the designer series paper pack. I am not really caring that the birds are going one way or going the other way or whatever. Like we've got, all right, see if I put this upside down bird right side up, then I'm going to have a right side up bird upside down. So I'm just really not stressing about the birds and I'm not stressing if the patterns match up exactly. There are times when I do, but with this particular pattern, I think it's really just a background and your eyes are going to go just right to the Hello Friend anyway. But you could absolutely be as particular or as loose as you want when you make these things. That's what I love about Stampin'. Some days I get my perfectionism on and some days I'm like, yeah, no, just going with the flow. But what I do want to do, I do want to make sure that I have my panels lined up because that would be a little bit distracting. So I'll tell you the sizes. Again, team, you guys get the PDF. And kit members, you get the PDF. These are 1 1/4 by 3 3/4. 1 1/4 by 3 3/4 times 4. And basically, even if you didn't have the measurements, you could do that yourself. You could just cut a piece of designer series paper that fits inside the grid and divide it by 4. Really, when I cut these, I cut them at 2 1/2 because that was easier for my eyes to see. And then I came to a different trimmer and I did 1 1/4. So that is the sizes. Now, how do I put them on? First of all, I use glue because with glue, it's pretty forgiving. And so I know that I want this piece right about here and this piece right about here, and I've got enough room for that. So I'm going to keep my other pieces in place just to remind me, hey, don't go crazy, don't go too far over. And I'm gonna put some glue. A question? All right.
Might
All right.
somewhere. It doesn't have anything on the back, so it's
Please
really
mute.
hard to do it.
I'm gonna mute Linda. Sorry, Linda, I muted you. Let me know. I think you know how to unmute yourself. So I've got my 3 pieces there. Now I'm gonna come get this exactly where I want it. And while I still have time, I'm just gonna kind of look at these other and make sure that it's giving me the space that I want, and it is. So I'm just gonna let that kind of sit right there, right? Now, here's a trick that I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go to the other side and put the other one down. Haha. So I'm gonna get glue on the other side. I'm gonna come over here. If I really, really wanted to, I could get a ruler out, or I could get grid paper out, or I could do something along those lines. But what I wanna do is I wanna make sure I've got even spacing throughout. And so if I come over here and put this guy in, then I know my 2 middle pieces are gonna fit. And now I can pull them away and just take a quick look and say, all right, do I feel like they're pretty straight like that? And I feel like they are. So sometimes I don't always like start from the left and go all the way to the right, because I have absolutely had times where I've gone too far. Sometimes if it was just 3 pieces, I would have started in the middle actually, and then I would have done the left and I would have done the right. But because it's 4, I'm doing this, and there's just no rhyme or reason. It's like not perfectionism, but those are just some tricks to make sure that you're getting the spacing that you want. And so now I'm still keeping my next piece here to make sure. And oh, I like it. That looks like it's going to be a good amount between all of them. So now he's adhered. There we go. And then I'm going to give one more little gluey, and I put that guy right there. And now I've got my 4 pieces on. So was that helpful, you guys? Was that something new, or do you do pretty good at spacing things anyway? Or do you have a different trick? Well, I don't see any comments. Linda, I had to mute you. Do you want me to unmute you? Can you undo? Sometimes, oh, you can do it. Good. All right. Sometimes people can unmute and sometimes they can't. All right. And anyway, this bird who's upside down, I know he's going to be covered by this tag anyway. So now I've got my 4 pieces, and if I really wanted to I could be like, well, wait, there's a little more distance over here. Truly, nobody is going to look at the card to that degree. But if you wanted to, you absolutely could, right? So now, same thing. I'm going to do my flowers first, and then I'm going to do my hello friend on top of it. I'm going to do my flowers and pool party. Any comments or questions while I'm doing that? Okay, not hearing any. I'm going to do my flowers and pool party, and I'm going to put them right about there. And then I'm going to do my hello friend. get him stamped. And then I just want to show you how I do the twine. A little bit of Wink-of-Stella again, and then we'll move on to the next card. So here is my hello friends. And I do the flowers first and then the black sentiment because I really just want the flowers in the background. And this Memento black is pretty inked up. He's inked up and he's inked up evenly. All right, I'm going to do my Wink-of-Stella. I'm kind of brushing it off to the side to make sure I'm getting goodness out of it and that I'm not getting too much goodness out of it. I'm going to come over here. I'm not putting my Wink-of-Stella on the hello friend. I'm just doing it in that little flower right there. And just, oopsie. Uh-oh, emergency, emergency, come right away. So I did get a little bit of Wink-of-Stella there. And I wiped it up with my, with a baby wipe or something. And so, yeah, no, you go off to the corner now, Mr. Wink-of-Stella. I got it, I'm going to clean him out. So, I mean, it does happen, right? So sometimes it does happen. It's a fine balance between like getting nothing out, too much, not enough, all of the above, right? So kind of like life. All right, so now I'm going to take my crumb cake and I'm going to kind of leave a tail off to the side. And then I'm going to wrap around 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Now in the kits, I try to leave like a long enough piece, but you're just going to have to use your own judgment. You know how able your fingers are to tie a bow, you know the look you like, etc. But I try to give a generous amount for you to be able to wrap it around and copy like exactly what I'm doing. So now I'm not even cutting it until I tie it. So I wrapped it around 3 times. I really need a lot of space to tie a bow now. My fingers used to be a lot more nimble and now they're not. So I leave myself big room to tie bows. And I've got my bow and I like it. I'm really happy with him. And then I cut off my ears. And now I've got my hello friend and look how happy that guy is. Well, we can certainly finish this one up, huh? We just pop some dimensionals on the back, and then I want to show you these amazing rhinestones, or yes, what are they called? Iridescent. And you know what? I don't know if Stampin' Up spelled them right or not. I keep wanting to say IRR, like iridescent, but on the website, they're IRIDE. So if you're looking for them, iridescent, IRI. But regardless, they are worth the struggle to find them because, oh my gosh, I love them more than basic rhinestones, and I love basic rhinestones. So I like a lot of dimensionals. So I put my Stampin' Dimensionals on. I'm gonna pop this baby right in the middle. And then where are these iridescent rhinestones? Well, after all that hoopla, where'd they go? I had them right there. No, I don't have them. Well, we're gonna find them, girls, and when we do, we're gonna put them on. But let me straighten up house a little bit, see if they show up. Nope, not showing up. Oh, here we are. Look at these guys. They have, and this, you know what? You get these free with minimum $50 purchase. If you purchase before tax and shipping, free with $50 purchase, you get this pack of gems. And so look at assuming they're in stock, which right now they are. So there's little, medium, and large. And so, oh my gosh, they're iridescent, right? I hope is that coming? Maybe a little bit. So they're a little different than the basic rhinestones. And so I just kind of use a few different sizes, and you guys know I like a triangle. So I'm going to kind of do one there, and then I'm going to do one right in the middle of that flower so that, I don't know, our eye just kind of subtly goes to that flower. So I've got my little triangle, boop, boop, boop. I've got my iridescent gems, and Sometimes with this bow, you guys, sometimes I'll put mini glue dots underneath if I don't like the way he's behaving. I'm not going to take that time now, but sometimes I'll put a couple mini glue dots under there to get him to like behave the way I want. So that's another hello friend card. So there we go. Look how sweet. Boom. Ah. All right. Now let me straighten house just a teeny minute because I can be a little messy Bessie. So what am I working on number 3? Number 3, oh, these birds, right? Oh my goodness. Let's work on this one. Okay, we're gonna work on this guy. And while I'm getting the ingredients out, I'm gonna check on the time. Oh God, we're
So
doing
we
great.
won't be able to, if we don't have the stamp set, we won't be able to do the bird.
It's true, sweetie.
Oh my God, I'm so sad.
Oh,
I'm gonna have to get that.
let me get the stamp set because you know what? I need to tell you, I'll just take a moment and take a detour. Like I told you, I'm doing 3 Stamp-a-Stacks over the next 3 months. I have featured these in every single Stamp-a-Stack for the next 3 months. Like you are going to see these stamps from me. So look how nice you can use this stamp. Hope you have the best birthday. It's just a piece of designer series paper, stamp, and just some little Wink-of-Stella in there and those sweet little butterflies, right? So even if you don't get this kit from me, but any designer series paper, you can just very easily just put that so nicely on it. You can put it on a stamped punch. Look what you can do with those flowers. You can color those flowers that we just stamped. I mean,
Is that this month's Stamp-a-Stack?
this is not. This month is Valentine, and I'm sorry I don't have that here. I should have brought that one, right? This is next month. This is February Stamp-a-Stack. This is
Oh, I'm getting that.
so sweet. 18 cards for 30. I don't know. I got to check. 18 cards though. And more generous. 7 types of ribbon. Look at all the different types of ribbon. I use 7 different types of ribbon.
Here's the cover of it.
There's the cover, Carol. Let's look. Hold
Yep,
on. Let's.
the rainbows.
Oh yeah, that's one of them. That's not the Stamp-a-Stack. That's a different kit. Thank you, Carol.
Oh,
That-
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You know what? It's the Valentines, and I don't have them here. I'm so sorry. I should have grabbed them, Linda. I promise you'll get to see them very soon. But bottom line, really, it's so universal. Best birthday, love and support, hello friend, these great flowers, that great bird, and the paper is exquisite. So truly, I love it. All right, we're gonna make this guy, and I'm gonna share a few things about this guy. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is the sketch. So I did this sketch a little bit differently. So this is seafoam. Soft seafoam is the color. And then I always give a basic white liner. I don't even care.
March 15th of last year.
How come I couldn't find it?
Can you, I don't know who's talking, but yeah, thank you. So basic white liner on the inside, I always give. And then on the outside, I thought I would do something a little bit differently. I took some of this designer series paper and I just cut like a 2 1/4 by 5 1/4 strip. So I just took a strip. This strip is also great, by the way, if you want to put it on an envelope, right? So 2 1/4 by 6 or whatever, you can get a lot of mileage out of it. But I just kind of put that right there. And then I added a piece of basic white. This might be 3.5 by 5. I'll look it up. Oh my God, it's true. It's 3.5 by 5. All right. So that's 3.5 by 5. And then I added the contours, die cuts. And then I added a layer right there. So I'm not going to take the time to recreate that sketch for you, but I will say one important thing. The sequence of events is glue this on. That's step 1. Glue that on. Step 2 is wrap your crumb cake twine around here and tie it before you adhere it. Maybe I should do it. I'll just do it really quickly. Oh gosh, you guys. Oh, how do I lose things? They're just right in front of me. Oh my gosh, I was teaching a class the other day on vision boards. I was showing a vision board in Zoom and it was upside down. And I was having a good old time talking about it. It was upside down. I just don't see so perfectly anymore. Oh my goodness. I lose things right in front of me. All right, here we go. It's kind of like Mr. Magoo. Anyway, here's how I do it. I take the twine, I wrap it around once, and then I tie it in a bow. So that's how you want to do that. And then you're going to cut it, and then you're going to adhere it. And this particular one, I already know. I just want the twine to the very, very farthest left. If you wanted to know where you wanted it as you were placing it, you could put your elements on it and see, where do I want the bow? Because you do kind of care about where the bow is placed before you finally glue it down. So let's pretend we've done all that now, and this everything else is on with glue. This guy goes on with Stampin' Dimensionals. So that's kind of all that guy. And now let's get to, I want to share something about ink, right? So I'm going to share something about ink. This is courtesy of Lynn. And you know what? I'm so grateful. I am so grateful when you guys ask questions. I love when you ask questions because we've been stamping for a while and it's not like I know everything, but I forget to maybe share some things, right? So I love when you ask questions because then I can share some things. So I want to share, when do you use Stazon and when do you use Memento? And you know what? You can guess the answer right here. Stazon with watercolor, Memento with blends. But you guys, don't be scared of your supplies. Let's take a look at it and see what actually literally happens. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ink something up. So this is practice. We're not creating anything right now, but I'm giving you some background for when we do create. So let's take Memento Black and put it on the side that says Memento. And let's get that good and inked up. And then earlier I was re-inking the Stazon because I hadn't used it in a while. I'm like, all right, Stazon lid, Stazon ink pad, Stazon re-inker, because you don't want to mix this stuff up. You do not want to mix this stuff up. All right, so Memento, Memento, Memento. This guy's cleaned up. Now I've got Stazon. I took time to get him good and re-inked because it's been a while since I've used him. So I've got him inked. And now this ink, it may be a little blotchy just to tell you because I re-inked it and I didn't really take time to give it a great treatment, but it'll work for today. So I re-inked it. Oh, perfect. Yeah, actually. So now I've got Stazon and I've got Memento. We're going to look at a couple of things. And I took a blend that has seen better days. Look at this tip. It's just time for this guy to go. He's really, really smashed. So I don't mind. You want to be careful if you're going to be doing experiments like this. Like, don't dedicate a yellow marker to testing this unless you're ready to move on, right? But I'm going to show you. I'm going to take my Memento and I'm just going to use this, I don't know, daffodil, saffron. Yeah, light daffodil. I'm going to take my light daffodil marker. You can see that I've colored it and it looks good. Now, I'm going to compare it to the other and then you're going to see exactly what I mean. But that looks good. You can see the black, you can see the yellow, there's no smearing. Let's take a look at what happens if you use this same marker with Stazon. Okay. See the difference?
Mm-hmm.
So the Memento Black with the blends works perfectly fine. The Stazon with the blends, it's going to be super smeary. So here's the thing to know. Lynn was asking me about that. She would have found out soon enough. But be on the lookout because maybe you don't know any better. So you're going to do it and you're going to see this. Like if you ever have questions and you're like, gosh, that doesn't look right, but it must be right, but it's not what I was hoping it was, like just drop me a quick text because I love to help you brainstorm and figure that stuff out. Now let me tell you what Stazon is good for, and it's just going to be a tiny little detour. So now I'm going to show you, I'm just going to take Pool Party, and you know, sometimes I like to use my Stampin' Block and my ink pad I like to use it like a little paint palette. So I took my ink pad and I just kind of put a little bit of ink on my block. So this is our classic ink pad, and I've got my watercolor brush. So, and this is last year, so the new one's white, but it's the same thing, right? So I'm going to get my tip of my watercolor brush wet, and I'm going to get this all inked up like I'm going to paint it. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go to the Stazon and needs a little more water. And frankly, I should have used watercolor paper, but really this is going to work really, really well. Now let me go to the blend side. It's going to be a little duller. So you're going to be able to retain some of the color over here with watercolor with Stazon, and you're going to retain the color over here with Memento with blends. So that's not the main point of today, but I did want to talk for a minute about that. So any questions about that? I'm going to show you one other thing about ink, but any questions about that?
If I use the watercolor pencils, would I use it with Stazon?
You know what?
If
Let's
I
just
don't use water, if I just color without water, would I use
do it. I have
Stazon?
a pencil. I have a pencil right here. Let's just do it. So my opinion, I'm going to do either, but let's see. And I'm just going to do it really lightly. Let's see if we can see. So that's in the Stazon, and that's in the, I think you can do either. That's without water, right? I think you can do either. And then if you
Can
want
you
to
add a little water, Letha?
I'm gonna, you are reading my mind. Let's add a little bit of water and see how that goes. I don't want to add too much. So now let's add a little bit of water. Oh my gosh, doesn't that just come to life? Oh my God, now I want to play with pencils. Oh my gosh. This is how you guys inspire me. You ask questions, now I got my colored pencils out. Now I got to do something with colored pencils. Yeah, we're just not going to get the same effect with the blend. So I would say Stazon.
Okay,
That's my
okay,
opinion.
great.
But you could do either.
Okay.
And then just the final reminder about the what's going to happen to your stamps. They are going to end up a little bit stained. There is a Stazon cleaner. I'm not all that careful. So there's a Stazon cleaner, but I don't go out of my way to use it. But if you really care about your stamps, then go ahead and do that. Get the Stazon cleaner. But honestly, now I'm going to come in with a different color. I'm going to come in with a light brown. I'm sorry, I'm going to come in with a crumb cake. I cleaned this, but I'm going to just come back in one more time. So you can see now it's just back to the crumb cake. So it's not retaining the black. It might look like it's black, but it's not retaining the black. And then the final thing I want to say about crumb cake, or about our dye-based inks, is you can use dye-based inks. I did that on one of the birds. You can use dye-based inks, but you want to really be careful. I mean, the main ink you want to use with blends is Memento Black. So let's get this bird stamped up and get to coloring. And let me check what time it is. All right, we got about 12 minutes for a couple of cards, so we can do it. I want to talk about coloring and I want to talk about straight placement. So give me a second. You guys, I really do get stuff everywhere. Where's the birds? Oh my gosh, where'd the birds go? Oh yeah, all right. Let's talk about a couple things with these birds. I want to show you how you can get straight placement with the birds. So this tool right here is a Stamp-a-Ratus. And I'm going to stamp the birds twice. I'm going to stamp them on a circle for one of the cards, and I'm going to stamp them on a rectangle for the other card. So I already know I've taken some time to position my bird just right. I know I want him there for when we're gonna stamp him on the circle. And I really want him, like, he fits exactly on that circle. Maybe his tail comes a little bit off, but I know I want him exactly right there. And that's what a stamping tool is fantastic for, and how we can get straight stamping. So I know when I go to do the circle that I want that, but I don't want that on, I just want to stamp him on the rectangle right now. So I'm gonna take him off. Oh, how am I gonna place it again? I'm gonna put this to the side. I'm gonna come over here. I'm gonna put my bird on here. Now this, I think, is a D-size block, and the stamp is a little bigger. So my trick for that is I put him a little bit on an angle, and so then I just, because he's clear, I can see when I'm gonna go stamp him. So so let me ink him up. I'm inking him up in Memento. And we are making this card right here. So I want to make sure I'm following along with the right card. Oh gosh, you guys, I really do go so quickly. Well, I'll bring him up in a minute. I know he's gonna go in the upper right corner. I think we're hearing a little bit of noise. If you guys could, that would be fantastic. Thank you. All right, so I got my little bird right there. We'll find the sample in a minute. And let's get to coloring him. So here's the colors that I'm using for this bird. I'm gonna go ahead and mute. I think I've got Pool Party, and I've got Petal Pinks, and I've got Crumb Cakes, and I've got Mint Macaron. I've got a little bit of yellow, and I've got the color lifter. So I'm gonna start with the Pool Party. Now here's how I'm gonna do the bird. I'm gonna outline him in the darker Pool Party. And I'm outlining him, I'm not going, how can I say it? I am not going over the edge. Alcohol ink spreads. So I'm going just up to the edge and not beyond it. I'm using the small nib. I'm not using the large side. I'm going really slowly, and I'm only going just up to the edge. And I'm kind of just doing just an outline along the edge. And this is because we want to get some variety and some texture. So I'm going to do that all the way around. And then I trust Stampin' Up. So where they've highlighted things, I highlight things. So I'm going to go in where they've, got some shading, and I'm going to trust that. And I'm going to go in with that. And then I'm going to come in with a lighter, this is the Mint Macaron. I'm going to come in with the lighter Mint Macaron. And I'm just going to kind of, now with the eyeballs, so when I go on the inside, I use the thicker tip. And these do wear out. So I just replace them after I use them a lot. I do replace them. But I'm pretty gentle with them too. And when I go around the eye, for sure, I leave some white space around the eye because I just kind of want a twinkle in the eye, if you will. So I'm coming in with Mint Macaron. And then I kind of want to do a final blend. So I'm going to come in with the color lifter. I could come in with light Pool Party, except I ran out. So for some reason, I have like 4 dark Pool Parties and no light. From when we used to sell them individually, I guess I really like dark Pool Party. But I came in with the color lifter, and I kind of like brought the 2 edges together kind of with a feathering. So it's got like a little bit of an outline, but not too much. So there's that sweet little bird. And then I used Crumb Cake, and I used the lighter Crumb Cake, and I used the little nib, and I just kind of came in, and I didn't worry too much about the feet, and I kind of just did Crumb Cake all the way through. Now maybe branches are green. You can pick whatever color you like. But I like a lot of colors and I like a lot of texture and I like a lot of variety. So now I'm going to come in and I'm just going to place a few dots throughout with the darker crumb cake. And then I'm going to come back in and blend it one more time with the lighter. Because I like a little bit of color variety and color texture. This really is my zen. Like, I love to just come here and just get quiet and take a deep breath and like just get lost like a little girl in coloring. So some other tips when I do the flowers, where with the bird I did the dark on the outside, with the flowers I'm doing the dark on the inside. This is dark petal pink. You could also pale papaya. Is that a question? Nope. All right. So I'm kind of, and you can do different strokes as you do things. So I'm kind of stroking the, I'm kind of following the shape and the texture of what's happening with the flowers. So I did that with the darker, and then now I'm going to come in with the lighter petal pink, and I'm just going to kind of make my way around. And so, so that's it for that flower. I do want to be mindful of time. So just to tell you the other final thing that I did, I used I think I used soft sea foam, but I want to be mindful that you guys may not have all the blends. So you could absolutely use like the light mint macaron as well for the leaves. I mean, it's really just the lightest touch. Pool Party and mint macaron are pretty similar to each other. You could use Granny Apple Green right there, but you could use whatever you have, right? So you could come in, if you have yellow, you could come in with a little bit of yellow around there. And then I'm a little worried about this guy because he was misbehaving, but we're going to try trust him. And again, we're going to get out our brush and we're going to come over here and make sure that he's behaving okay. Oh, you know what? You got to make sure he's twisted. For some reason, the twisty was coming off. I like what's happening there. So I'm very slowly, I'm not going to do the whole bird, but I'm just going to kind of come in and just emphasize parts of the bird, parts of the flower. Of course, I would have colored a little more to the edge. That's fine. But honestly, even white, just the white space. So that's our little decorated bird. And then I stamped the sentiment, which is sending you my love and support, which is another sentiment in this stamp set. I did stamp that in Pool Party. So, and how did I stamp that straight? I put it on straight on here. And then I kind of like, so I'm going to look at it. I'm going to see the word support. And I don't know if you can see it, but I kind of look at it visually and make sure the word support is in a straight line and it's straight with the bottom. And then I go up a little bit and I stamp. So I kind of check it against a known straight line. And then I stamp it. And so there we have, you have my love and support. So there's that sweet little guy. And let me take a moment. I do also want to cover this final bird. So give me 1 second because I also want to honor time. I'm going to clean house just one tiny little second, you guys. I have things everywhere. I want to show you this final card. I mean, this card in its finished form, and then I want to show you the next card. So let me just clean up just a teeny little bit. We're going to need this Stamp-a-Ratus. That's fantastic. And any questions while I'm cleaning house, just the teeniest little bit. All right. So here, I found our final card, and I see that I colored him a lot darker. I colored the flowers a lot darker. And so you just would have taken more time and gone to the edges. Honestly, I kind of really like it both ways, right? So you can achieve different looks different ways. You pop that guy on the final, you put some little gems, and there you have it. So that guy's a little bit darker, and that was the petal pink. And it was really just colored all throughout. So, so there's that guy. And now
Pretty
let's,
both ways.
what?
Pretty both ways.
Awesome. Oh, it's so peaceful and it's so pretty. Yeah, and I put some Wink-of-Stella in the middle of the flower, both. Awesome. All right. Now let's do this final bird. And there's a couple things about this final bird that I want to show you. So let's get this final bird out. Here's the card ingredients. And here's the sample. Oh, there's 2. Oh gosh, you guys. Woo! I did 5. All right. So a quick lesson about this bird, and then a quick lesson about coloring these flowers. So I am going to go a little bit over, but I'll give you a quick little tip about coloring this bird, and then a quick little tip about coloring these flowers. So here's what's going on with this card. With this card, you're going to get the petal pink, you're going to get the basic white, you're going to get basic white for the inside, and then you're going to get 3 3/4 by 6, and you tear the paper. We've been doing this in bingo, we've been doing this different places. You tear the paper, and then you've got this isn't on the back, so you're going to get another little strip. You're going to put that little strip under, and then you're going to put your torn layer right there. So it's really, really subtle. You're going to tear that, and the instructions are pretty clear about that. Let's get to how are you going to do this bird, and how you're going to make sure you get this bird placed just exactly perfectly. So I've got my Stamp-a-Ratus. You could also use what's known as a T-square, but I've got my Stamp-a-Ratus right here, and I took the time earlier to place things correctly so that I could get things exactly where I want it. When do you want to use this Stamp-a-Ratus or a positioning tool? You want to use a positioning tool when you want something perfectly straight, or if you're going to do mass production. And so I took some time to line it up. I mean, that's just one thing you need to know. It takes time to line it up, right? But now that I know I've got it where I like it, because he's clear, I can come back in and I can place him where I've got it right there. And even though I took it off, I can get him put right back on right there. And I know I'm going to end up with my bird exactly where I want it. So I'm just going to use the other side of this same circle. And I'm going to put my magnets where I know the bird's not going to touch it. And so the 2 things I want to tell you with this bird, one, you can use crumb cake to color. So this whole thing was done with crumb cake. And doesn't it give just a much different look than maybe this starker look with black, right? Doesn't it give just a much different look? Both incredibly beautiful. This just has a crispness to it, and this just has a soft subtleness to it, right? Where I really brought out more crumb cake in the twine and in the sentiment, and it just has a whole softer feel, and this has a crisper feel, and both have a place. You can use our classic ink or our dye-based ink. You can use it with blends. Just your mileage will vary, right? So some colors are going to work better than others. I wouldn't do this with purple ink, right? Because you're going to get a whole lot of smearing and it's not going to look so good. So you can just be careful, I guess I would say. So you can use a different ink. That's one tip I wanted to share. And you can get it placed exactly where you want it. So I'm inking it up with crumb cake. I've got my bird. I've got my circle where I want my circle. Oopsie, I've got my hinges in my hinges. Actually, I'm looking. Yeah, no, that's going to be perfect. So now I'm just going to come in and I'm going to give it a good press. And now I've got my bird exactly where I want my bird. And so I could keep adding circles and coming back in and doing it again and doing it again and doing it again. Now on the Stamp-a-Ratus, you have a mat that you can, a foam mat that you can either have in place or not have in place, depending if you're using photopolymer or red rubber. So that's just an example of how to get a straight sentiment or a straight bird. You can use that guy. And then you guys, if it's all right, in the interest of time, I think I want to teach you how to color this guy. I did exactly the same thing on this guy. I did the pool party. I did the mint macaron. I did the pale papaya. I did the crumb cake. So I did exactly the same colors all the way through. I think that was maybe granny apple green or a little, yeah, because there was granny apple green there. So a little different treatment of the leaves, but honestly, use the colors that you have or just play with it, just get different looks, right? So, but basically, I'm not going to color that bird again. That's very similar, very similar. So any questions before I move to the flowers? I'm not seeing any. All right. Well, then we're going to do the flowers because the flowers are a little bit different. So let's do the flowers. All right, so with the flowers, we've got again our thick white, we've got our designer series paper, and I believe that's probably 3 by 5, I think so. But you just want a nice frame, right? And then we've got our fresh freesia color and contour, and then we've got a piece of white that goes just right inside of that. I'm going to show you. So of course I use the Memento black ink. I'm going to use fresh freesia blends with pale papaya in the middle and then a color lifter to kind of combine those two together. So let me quickly show you how to do that. So I've got my thick white, and of course I don't need a liner on the inside. I've got my designer series paper, and so I would adhere that with glue. I've got my contour out of fresh freesia cardstock. I would put that on with Stampin' Dimensionals. When you get a kit from me of this type, I do tie the bows for you. So you're going to get your gingham bow inside, and we're going to tie it the same way we did exactly earlier. You're going to get, sometimes I give you a few different sizes. Carol just found this out the other day. Sometimes I give a few different widths or a few different lengths or a few different sizes because it depends what sentiments you have. Here, I'm assuming you have exactly this. So it's going to be 3/4 inch by, at least 2.5. And then we're going to go ahead and stamp the flowers and color the flowers. So I'm going to use my Stampin' Pierce mat. Gosh, I didn't get my fresh freesia. Oh goodness. Alrighty. I'm going to put my flowers on here in Memento black. I love these flowers. It's so cool how they come together with these two different colors. Like these flowers show the magic of using blend. That's just what I have to say about the matter. So I don't know which way I had the flowers facing, but I guess, it looks like this. So I had the flowers facing this way, and it does matter actually, because then you're going to put the sentiment covering the flower, but not too much of the flower. So I use my Memento black, and now I'm going to color. I hope to goodness this is fresh freesia. I did so good getting everything ready. Yes, it is. So there's my fresh freesia, and here's my lighter blends. So in this case, I started with the darker of the two, which by that I mean I'm doing the purple, not the yellow. And so I'm starting with the light fresh freesia, and I'm going all the way around. Now, when I do this, you guys, I do like multiple layers. So let me do one of them and show you how I do it. I would start like with the darkest fresh freesia here. So I would do that at the tip. Then I would come in with the lighter fresh freesia. And I'm already starting to blend those two together. Then I would kind of start in the middle and work my way out. I love So Saffron. This is the light So Saffron. So I would start in the middle and work my way out. This guy's getting a little bit dry. It's time for new blends. Well, that's what I love about Celebration, you guys. I literally save up my sales needs, like my big purchases for Celebration, because we get so many rewards. We get, with every $50, we get something free. With every $100, we get something free. If we get to a hostess party, we get something free. As demonstrators, we get even more free if we have minimum amount of sales for the 2 months. And so truly, I save up some of my sales some of my personal needs. I load up on my cardstock and my blends and stuff like that. I literally save up and do that in January and February. Doris and I have had this strategy for years, actually. Like we always like, okay, time to load up on basic white, time to load up on blends. And so my first order was for you guys. I bought a bunch of stuff for some upcoming, but my next order's for me. I'm gonna go buy a bunch of blends and load up on stuff. All right, now what am I doing? Now I'm doing the magic of blending. Now I'm taking this yellow and this so saffron, and I'm going into the purple and I'm pulling it in. And I wish to goodness you guys could see it. This is the kind of thing where like you kind of have to experience it to do it. But truly, this is an alcohol ink and alcohol spreads and alcohol blends. So you're really going to get this magical effect when you start to pull these colors in together. And purple and yellow, if you know, are on the opposites on the color wheel. And so they're a lovely contrast together. And they're not making mud hair, they're blending hair. It's beautiful and fantastic. So then I went through and I colored all that in for both of them, and then I put a little bit of Wink-of-Stella, and then I adhered it to this base right here. And then just a final thing, I took this Hope You Have the Best Birthday, and I'm going to show you how I use a T-square. So what's a T-square? What's a Stamp-a-Majig? We used to sell these. We don't sell them anymore. To be honest with you, you may or may not be able to get, like with a little guy like this, you may or may not be able to get such great effect with the Stamp-a-Ratus. So I still just pull out my old T-square, and I've got a plastic sheet, and I'm going to use Memento ink, of course. So the first thing I do is I take my T-square, I put my stamp, I get it onto this plastic sheet, and then I come over to where I want to stamp it. I line it up exactly where I want it. I put my T-square in place. I lift this ever so carefully. I re-ink, I come back in, and now I've got it exactly where I want it. And then how I did these guys, I'm going to let it dry a little bit, but I'll just show you. And I'm kind of getting into this little torn look right now, but I went to each side. I tore it in even closer. I just don't want to get the ink smeared right now, but I just did a little bit of a tear very close to the sentiment on each edge. I tore, adhered it with some glue over the flower. Who cares? Over the flower, it looks perfectly fine. Hope you have the best birthday. I put some mini glue dots. I put my bow on there, and that's how perfect that is. So you guys, I know that we're a little bit over, and I want to honor that. We did 5 cards today. That was amazing. So when you get this kit, now you'll have pretty clear idea how to go about doing everything. We've got 5 cards. If you're on my team, you get these 5 cards for $6 plus shipping. If you are my customer, you can get this kit free with minimum 35 purchase. You can get this kit free with minimum $50 purchase and also get these iridescent gems. Or you can get it free with minimum purchase and get a Hello Friend bundle in addition to 10 cards and the iridescent gems. So please, whether you're a demonstrator or whether you're a customer, please consider getting this friendly hello, because I'm going to be doing a lot more things with it. It's incredibly versatile. And I think that's it. I'm going to close. If anybody wants to stay on, you can. But I'm going to close just in the honor of time because this did go a little bit over. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to remove spotlight. I'm going to go back to everybody. I'm going to go to gallery view if I can. And thank you for joining me today. Any comments, any questions, any thoughts?
Yay, thank you. Those cards are beautiful.
Aw, thank you. Fantastic. Thank you. Any other questions or thoughts?
I love the cards. The second one, the blue one, is my favorite, but I like that last one too. But they're all wonderful cards.
All right. Well, you guys inspire me. Thank you for coming today and happy celebration and hope to see you soon. Every second Wednesday, 4 p.m. California time, free Zoom class. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Leila. Thank you.
Bye, Judy.